She believed she was cleaning without witnesses. The millionaire was hidden, and what he saw changed everything. Marcus Webb's hand trembled as he held the manila envelope. Inside it, 5 photographs that would completely destroy the man who had stolen 6 years of his life. Across the cold metal table, Detective Brandon Cole smiled with that arrogance Marcus knew all too well, the same arrogance of someone who believes they're above the law. "So, convict, finally admitting you made this whole story up?" Cole's voice echoed in the empty interrogation room at Riverside Central Station. 6 years weren't enough for you to learn your place. Marcus took a deep breath. 32 years old, 6 of which rotted in a cell for a crime he never committed. Drug trafficking. 200 grams of cocaine found in his car trunk during a routine traffic stop. Detective Brandon Cole's testimony was enough to convince the jury. Cole, the decorated officer. Cole, the community hero. Cole, the liar who planted those drugs. "I didn't make up anything." Marcus placed the envelope on the table, sliding it slowly toward the detective. "But you know that better than anyone, don't you, Cole?" The officer's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Just enough for Marcus to realize he'd hit the target. 6 years ago, Marcus worked as an IT technician at a digital security company. Simple life, modest apartment, fiancé waiting for marriage. Then Cole showed up. A routine stop transformed into a nightmare. Sarah, his fiancée, ended everything 3 months after the conviction. She couldn't handle the pressure, the stares, the whispers. Marcus didn't blame her. In prison, Marcus had 2 choices: give up or fight. He chose to fight. Every free minute was dedicated to studying law, reviewing his case, looking for inconsistencies. He discovered something interesting. Cole had participated in 7 other drug trafficking arrests over the past 10 years. All followed the same pattern. Routine stop. Drugs found in cars of people with no records. Quick convictions. But there was something more. Something Marcus only discovered when his cellmate, a former informant named Deshaun, casually mentioned. Cole always finds a way to keep the seized cars. Resells them later. Profitable business. That's when Marcus understood. It wasn't about drugs. It was about the cars. Cole chose victims with valuable vehicles, planted evidence, kept the automobiles through fraudulent auctions organized by contacts in the department. Marcus drove a restored 2018 Mustang, worth almost $60,000. "You have nothing but conspiracy theories from an angry convict," Cole said, but his eyes betrayed growing nervousness. "If you had anything concrete, you would have gone to the prosecutor, not to me." "Who said I didn't?" Cole froze. Marcus could see the gears turning in the detective's head, calculating possibilities, assessing risks. What Cole didn't know was that Marcus had spent the last 18 months, since getting out on parole, meticulously building his trap. He got a job as a night janitor in the same building where Cole maintained his private office, a side business of security consulting that was a front for much darker operations. Marcus cleaned, organized, emptied trash cans. Invisible. Forgotten. Exactly as he'd planned. And while cleaning, he observed. Photographed. Recorded. Collected evidence the judicial system had ignored 6 years ago. The envelope, Cole. "Open it." The detective hesitated, then picked up the envelope with calculated movements. Opened it. 5 photographs fell onto the table. The color drained from Cole's face. First photo, Cole handing a suspicious package to a man known in the underworld as Snake Delgado, mid-level drug dealer. Second photo, Cole receiving a bulky envelope from the same Snake, 3 days later. Third photo, Cole talking with Lieutenant Morris in the station parking lot, both beside an Audi A6, the same car seized from one of Cole's victims 2 years ago. Fourth photo, record of the fraudulent auction where that Audi was sold for a ridiculously low price to a shell company. A company whose majority partner was Cole's brother-in-law. Fifth photo, Cole driving that same Audi last week. "Where did you?" Cole couldn't finish the sentence. "Where did I get these photos?" Marcus leaned forward. "From the place where you never imagined anyone would be watching. From the place where people like me are invisible to people like you." If this story is gripping you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next chapter, because what Marcus planned goes beyond what anyone could imagine. Cole needed to make a quick decision. But what he didn't know was that those 5 photos were just the beginning. Marcus had much more stored away. And the real trap hadn't been activated yet. "These photos don't prove anything," Cole said, but his voice came out too tense to be convincing. "Conversations with acquaintances aren't crimes. Cars at public auctions aren't evidence of corruption." Marcus leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "You're right. Alone, these photos aren't enough. That's why I only brought 5 of the 63 I have." He paused deliberately. "And none of the 17 videos." Cole's jaw clenched. For the first time in 6 years, Marcus saw genuine fear in the eyes of the man who had destroyed his life. "What do you want?" The question came out almost in a whisper. "Justice." "Money? I can get money. 50,000 in cash by tomorrow." Marcus laughed without humor. "You stole my freedom, my fiancé, my career. And you think 50,000 fixes that?" Cole stood abruptly, the chair scraping on the concrete floor. "Listen here, you piece of shit. You have no idea who you're messing with. I have friends in high places. I can make your life hell again." "More hell than 6 years at Corcoran State Penitentiary?" Marcus remained seated, calm. "Division C, Cell 47. I wake up every day at 5:30 to screams of prisoners having nightmares. Inedible food. Filthy showers. Constant violence. You put me there, Cole. Now it's my turn." The detective walked around the table, intimidating. 6'3" of muscle and barely contained rage. "You're making a fatal mistake. Sit down." Marcus's voice didn't rise in tone, but carried an authority that made Cole hesitate. "Sit or I send the photos to Federal Prosecutor Thomas Richardson right now. I know you two haven't gotten along since he investigated that tampered evidence case in 2019. Cole sat back down slowly, fists clenched on the table. Marcus continued, "For 18 months I worked as a janitor at the Harmon Building, where you keep your private office. Everyone ignores janitors, Cole. We're ghosts who empty trash cans and clean bathrooms. Nobody stops talking when we enter a room. You illegally spied on me. Nothing you got is admissible. Photographs taken from public areas of the building are perfectly legal, as is recording conversations in shared environments where there's no reasonable expectation of privacy." Marcus leaned forward. "I studied plenty of law in prison. I had time to spare." Cole remained silent, processing. Marcus could see options being calculated, discarded, recalculated. "You mentioned 17 videos," Cole finally said. "Of what? Do you really want to know?" Marcus grabbed his phone. "I can show you one now. It's short, only 45 seconds." He pressed play. The screen showed Cole inside a poorly lit warehouse, talking with Snake Delgado and another man Marcus had identified as Raymond Ray Tucker, known for operating a stolen car chop shop scheme. Cole's voice sounded clear in the video. "Next target is a 2020 BMW M3. Owner is James Chun, works at Microsoft. No record. I'll make the approach Friday night, his usual route from gym to home. You get the car for 15,000. I keep the rest when I sell it at auction." Snake responded, "And the drugs?" "Already prepared. Same scheme as always." Marcus paused the video. "James Chun was arrested 3 months ago. He's serving 5 years for possession with intent to distribute. You destroyed his life exactly like you destroyed mine." The color had completely drained from Cole's face. "Where, how did you get this?" "The warehouse belongs to a logistics company. I cleaned the offices there too. You chose the wrong place for your secret meetings." Marcus put away his phone. "I have evidence of 7 different cases. 7 destroyed lives. 7 ruined families. All for cars." "This isn't just about me," Cole said suddenly, a last attempt at negotiation. "There are much more powerful people involved. Lieutenant Morris, Captain Sullivan, even Judge Warren. If you expose this, they'll crush you." "I'm already crushed, Cole. What more can they take from me?" "Your life." The comment hung in the air, threatening. Marcus knew it wasn't a bluff. He'd seen enough in prison to understand that corrupt cops protected their schemes with violence when necessary. That's why I left copies of everything with 3 different people, Marcus lied calmly. Lawyer, investigative journalist, and a former FBI colleague. If anything happens to me, everything comes out automatically. Cole studied Marcus's face, looking for signs of lying. Found none. Marcus had practiced that expression in the mirror for weeks. So what do you want? Cole asked again, defeated. Signed confession? Testimony against the others. I want you to feel exactly what I felt. Marcus stood up. I want you to understand the desperation of being accused of something you didn't do. I want you to experience the powerlessness of screaming the truth while everyone ignores you. I want you to lose everything that matters. How? Marcus smiled for the first time. You'll find out soon. He picked up the photographs from the table and put them back in the envelope. I have a meeting scheduled with Prosecutor Richardson on Thursday at 10 a.m. That gives you 4 days to put your affairs in order. Warn your wife Karen, maybe. Or your children, Tyler and Madison. They deserve to know their father is a criminal before seeing it on television. Cole paled hearing his family's names. You won't involve my family in this. I won't. You involved them when you chose to destroy other families for money. Marcus walked toward the door. 4 days, Cole. Use them wisely. Wait. Cole's voice sounded broken. Please. I have children. James Chun does too. 2 girls, 6 and 8 years old. They visit their father in prison every second Sunday. Marcus opened the door. You should have thought about that before. He left the interrogation room, leaving Cole alone with the weight of his own guilt. But as he walked down the station corridor, Marcus knew this was far from over. Cole was dangerous, desperate, and connected. Men like that didn't accept defeat easily. Marcus had 4 days to execute the next phase of the plan. 4 days before Cole discovered that meeting with the prosecutor was just part of a much larger trap. Because Marcus didn't just want to destroy Cole, he wanted to dismantle the entire corruption network protecting him. And for that, he'd need to do something risky. Something that could cost his own freedom again, or even his life. But after 6 years in hell, Marcus had nothing left to lose. He only had everything to gain. 48 hours after the confrontation, Marcus was sitting in a discreet cafe in downtown Riverside with someone he hadn't seen in 7 years. Detective Rachel Moreno had been Cole's partner before requesting a sudden transfer to the Financial Crimes Division. No one ever knew exactly why. You're playing with fire, Rachel said, stirring her coffee without drinking. She looked older, more tired. Cole won't simply accept you exposing him. I know. That's why I need your help. Rachel laughed without humor. Marcus, I can't get involved in this officially. If they discover I'm collaborating with an ex-convict against a colleague. You requested the transfer because you discovered something about him. It wasn't a question. Marcus had spent months researching, connecting dots. You saw something you couldn't ignore, but also couldn't report without proof. Rachel's eyes narrowed. I found inconsistencies in the evidence report of your case. Small things that didn't make sense. But when I tried to talk to Captain Sullivan, he told me not to create unnecessary problems. That's why you went to financial crimes. Marcus slid a flash drive across the table. Here's everything I got over the last 18 months. Photos, videos, timelines. 7 cases besides mine. All innocent victims. Rachel looked at the flash drive as if it were a bomb. You're putting me in an impossible position. I'm giving you the chance to do what you wanted to do 7 years ago. James Chun has 2 young daughters. Robert Martinez was a math teacher. Rachel picked up the flash drive and put it in her purse. I'll review the material. If I find something usable within legal protocols, I can discreetly forward it to the right people. That's all I'm asking. And you? What's your next step? Marcus smiled. I'm going to make Cole think he's following me when, in reality, he's the one being followed. 2 days later, Marcus was in the Harmon Building parking lot at 11 p.m., uniformed as always. But this time there was a difference. He knew Cole was watching him from a dark car parked across the street. Marcus entered the building normally, cleaned 3 offices, including Cole's. But he also left something extra, fake documents suggesting Marcus had an accomplice inside the federal prosecutor's office. Carefully planted papers showed drafts of emails to someone identified only as TR, the initials of prosecutor Thomas Richardson. Marcus knew Cole would search through the office trash. Desperate men do predictable things. On Thursday morning, Marcus dressed in the only suit he owned and went to federal court. He arrived at 9:30, half an hour before the supposed meeting with Richardson. Cole was there, disguised with a cap and sunglasses, sitting on a bench in the corridor. But there was another person watching that Cole didn't notice, a private investigator named Vincent Zhao, hired by Marcus with the last $2,000 he'd saved. Vincent was discreet, professional, and was documenting Cole's every move. Marcus entered Richardson's office waiting room. The secretary received him politely. "Do you have an appointment?" "Yes, 10 a.m. Marcus Webb." She checked the computer, confused. "Mr. Webb, I don't have any appointment registered for you today." Marcus feigned surprise. "But I confirmed by email on Monday." The secretary consulted Prosecutor Richardson and returned. "There's been some misunderstanding. Can we reschedule for Monday?" "Perfect." Marcus left the courthouse, walked right past Cole without looking at him. 15 minutes later, his phone rang. Vincent. He took the bait. After you left, Cole entered the courthouse. Tried to talk with Richardson's secretary. She sent him away. Cole stayed another 15 minutes circling, looking paranoid. Then he made 3 calls. First call to someone named Morris. Cole said, "We need to resolve this before Monday." The third was the most interesting. He said, "The janitor has contact inside the prosecutor's office. We need to find out who." Marcus smiled. Panic was setting in exactly as planned. "Cole's going to do something drastic now," Vincent continued. "Are you prepared?" "I am." Marcus called Rachel. "Did you analyze the material?" "I did." "Marcus, this is devastating. Evidence enough to bring down not just Cole, but at least 4 more officers. Can you use it?" "I can forward it anonymously to Internal Affairs and the FBI. But it'll take weeks." "I know. I just need you to plant the right seeds in the right places." Friday night, Marcus was in his apartment when he heard violent knocking on the door. 3 police officers entered with a search warrant. "Warrant to search for stolen documents," the sergeant said. Marcus didn't resist. He let them search everything. They found exactly what he wanted: an empty laptop, no suspicious files, nothing incriminating. Because everything was stored in 3 different locations Cole would never discover. After the frustrated officers left, Marcus received a message from an unknown number, "Last chance to back down." Marcus responded, "Monday, 10 a.m. See you there." The trap was ready. Cole thought he was hunting, but he was the prey. And Monday would be the day everything came to light. Monday arrived loaded with tension. Marcus woke at 5 a.m., put on the same worn suit, and checked one last time that everything was in place. He wasn't really going to meet with Prosecutor Richardson. That was never the real trap. At 8:30, Marcus was sitting in a cafe 2 blocks from the courthouse when his phone vibrated. "Vincent. Cole's not alone today. He has 3 men with him. One of them is Lieutenant Morris. I don't recognize the other 2, but they look like muscle." "Are they armed?" "Definitely. And they look tense." "Marcus, this could get ugly." "Let it." Marcus hung up and called Rachel. "Is everything positioned?" Federal agents are at 3 strategic locations. Hidden cameras at 4 points. Surveillance vans 2 blocks away. But Marcus, if this goes wrong. It won't. Trust me. At 9:45, Marcus walked calmly toward the courthouse. He could feel Cole and his cronies' eyes following him. Instead of entering through the main door, he turned left and entered a side alley connecting 2 buildings. It was a dead-end alley. Exactly as planned. Marcus stopped in the middle of the alley and waited. 30 seconds later, Cole appeared at the entrance, blocking the only exit. Morris and the 2 large men flanked him. "It's over, Webb," Cole said, his voice echoing off the brick walls. "You're not going anywhere." Marcus turned slowly, hands in his pockets. "Not really. Because I've already arrived where I wanted. Cole frowned. What are you talking about? Did you really think I'd come here without a plan? That I'd expose myself like this, vulnerable? Marcus smiled. You underestimated me again, Cole. Just like you underestimated 7 other people before me. Shut up. Cole advanced a few steps. You have nothing. Those photos? Inadmissible. The videos? Illegal recordings. No judge will accept them. You're right. That's why I didn't take them to any judge. Marcus slowly pulled his hands from his pockets, showing he was unarmed. I took them to who really matters. Richardson won't see you. I already took care of that. I'm not talking about Richardson. That's when Cole realized. The alley's silence was too artificial. There were no traffic sounds, no pedestrians passing, no normal city movement. As if the entire area had been isolated. What did you do? Cole's voice came out tense. Over the last 3 days, Rachel Moreno delivered all the evidence I collected directly to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Not to local police, not to state prosecutors. To the FBI. Marcus took a step forward. They were looking for exactly what I had, concrete proof of a police corruption network operating for over a decade. Morris paled. You're lying. Am I? Then why are there 3 federal surveillance vans parked on the streets around this alley? Why are there agents positioned on the rooftops of both buildings? Marcus pointed up. Why are there high-definition cameras recording every word of this conversation? Cole looked up instinctively. Didn't see anything obvious, but knew Marcus was telling the truth. He could feel it. You came here to intimidate me, maybe even hurt me, Marcus continued. But in reality, you just confirmed everything I told the FBI. Witness intimidation. Conspiracy to obstruct justice. Possible assault attempt. One of the large men took a step back, nervous. Cole, this wasn't part of the deal. Stay where you are. Cole was losing control. He's bluffing. He has to be. I'm not. Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket and pressed a button. A voice came from the speaker. This is Special Agent Sarah Chun from the FBI. Detective Brandon Cole, Lieutenant Richard Morris, and the 2 unidentified individuals. You are surrounded. Federal agents are positioned at all exits. Put your hands where we can see them and remain still. The blood drained from Cole's face. No, it can't be. Doors opened simultaneously at 3 points. Federal agents entered the alley with guns drawn and bulletproof vests marked with large letters, FBI. On the ground. Everyone. Hands behind your heads. The 2 large men obeyed immediately. Morris hesitated, then knelt slowly. Cole remained standing, looking at Marcus with pure hatred. You destroyed everything, Cole said, his voice broken. My career, my family, my life. No, Marcus responded calmly. You destroyed your own life when you decided to destroy mine. And James Chen's. And Robert Martinez's. And Daniel Foster's. He paused. 7 lives, Cole. You ruined 7 lives out of greed. On the ground, Detective Cole. Now. Cole finally knelt. Agents approached quickly, handcuffing all 4 men. Agent Chun approached Marcus. Mr. Webb, are you okay? I am. Thank you for coordinating this. Thank you. The evidence you provided is the most complete I've ever seen in a police corruption case. Chun looked at Cole being lifted by the agents. We're going to dismantle the entire network. Cole, Morris, Captain Sullivan, Judge Warren. Everyone. Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in 6 years, relief. True relief. Cole was dragged toward Marcus, agents leading him out of the alley. When he passed, Cole spit on the ground at Marcus's feet. You can bring me down, but you'll always be an ex-convict. You'll always have that mark. Marcus looked directly into Cole's eyes. And you'll always be the corrupt cop who was brought down by a janitor. Who do you think will have the worse mark? Cole didn't respond. He had no answer. As agents took the 4 men away, Rachel appeared at the alley entrance. She had coordinated everything with the FBI over the last 3 days, identifying the right agents, presenting the evidence, setting up the operation. "We did it," she said, her eyes shining with tears of satisfaction. "We did it," Marcus repeated. They watched the FBI vans depart with Cole and the others. Sirens cut through the morning silence. It was the sound of justice finally being served. Marcus took a deep breath. 6 years of pain, humiliation, and struggle. It was all worth it for this moment. But he knew there was still a long road ahead: testimonies, trials, the fight to officially clear his name. But for the first time since that terrible night of the traffic stop, Marcus Webb believed the system could work. It just needed the right people fighting for the right reasons. 2 months after the fall of Cole and his accomplices, Riverside seemed like another city. Headlines spoke of the police scandal of the year. Captain Sullivan, Judge Warren, and other prominent names were now behind the same bars that once held Marcus prisoner. Investigations multiplied, and this time, nothing was swept under the rug. Marcus's name appeared in every newspaper, never as a criminal, always as an unlikely hero. Even so, Marcus knew that rebuilding his own life wouldn't be simple. The stigma of ex-convict still loomed, like a persistent shadow. Job interviews never went forward. Some friends from the past avoided contact. The distrustful looks from neighbors were hard to swallow. But there was something different in him now, a serenity forged by the fire of things he had overcome. Rachel Moreno received a promotion to Internal Affairs Division. She became a symbol of the fight for integrity within the police force. James Chun, Robert Martinez, and other innocent people were freed and received compensation from the state. Marcus was at Chen's hearing with his daughters. For the first time, he managed to smile genuinely. However, the most intense moment came at a community assembly about justice and police reform at Riverside High School. Marcus was a guest speaker. He climbed onto the stage under attentive gazes and for an instant, felt the weight of all the sleepless nights in the cell. But seeing Rachel sitting in the front row and James emotional with his daughters, he found the strength to raise his voice. "They gave me the chance to become bitter. I chose to transform pain into struggle." He took a deep breath. We all have choices. Cole chose to destroy lives instead of honoring the badge. I chose the truth. Because, in the end, it's what sets us free. The auditorium fell silent. After a few seconds, applause came in sincere waves, not out of pity, but out of respect. In the following weeks, Marcus accepted a position as an ethics and transparency consultant at a foundation created by former wrongfully convicted individuals. He began visiting schools and community centers, sharing not just his story, but mainly the message about dignity, courage, and persistence. He learned from press sources that Cole, now a former detective, refused all prison interviews. Some said he lived in isolation, unable to face his own reflection. For Marcus, revenge no longer mattered. The real victory was never having become like his enemy. On a sunny morning, Marcus returned to the old building where he had worked as a janitor. Carrying coffee, he greeted the shift cleaning lady, who looked at him surprised, not knowing who he was. Marcus smiled and left a note on the table. "No one is invisible. Thank you for keeping this place standing, honestly." His story left marks, but also opened doors previously unthinkable. Marcus knew that not everything could be forgotten, but now, finally, he could move forward. He had learned that sometimes the greatest justice is proving that resisting, and not becoming corrupt, is the only path that transforms victims into agents of change. If this journey of overcoming moved you, show your support. Subscribe to receive more stories of justice, courage, and new beginnings.